Up guys, it's your boy Barca boy 103. Today we're going to be doing the match analysis from the match yesterday between Barcelona and Leganes. It's going to be a very raw video where I'm just going to be ranting and raving, giving you guys my opinion and also analyzing the game as well. Not looking too much into numbers of this game because I feel like it's absolutely irrelevant when you lose 1-0. Everyone knows how this game went. I will look at some stats, we'll analyze some players' performances as well, key holes, discuss what the players and the manager said after the game, and also having a look ahead in La Liga as well. I will be discussing a lot of key things that we learned from this game, probably more than 5 to be honest, but it's going to be a very flowing video where I will be discussing basically everything that's on my mind, everything that is in the media as well. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get to 200 likes on this video. It would be very much appreciated. Also, if you are new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. I want to firstly start off by taking a look at some of the stats from this match, some big stats in my opinion. Firstly, it's a stat on Barcelona's current league form. You can see here in our first 10 La Liga matches, we had 9 wins and 1 loss, 33 goals scored, 10 conceded. In our last 8, the same amount was conceded, half the goals were scored, 3 wins, 3 losses. We have the same amount of losses as we do wins, and then the 2 draws as well. Our league form as of late in the past 10 games has been disgusting. We had a 10-point lead, and now we've got no lead anymore. This is an unreal capitulation. I don't know what it is. I don't know if we're underestimating opponents. The real issue for me, in my opinion, is that in these games where we did lose, we played our strongest team. Like Las Palmas, only a few rotations, maybe 2 or 3 players. Against Leganes last night, only 1 player was rotated. Is it about, too many games? The thing is, we see the team perform so well, but they can't keep it consistent. That's the main issue for me. In the beginning of the season, we were consistent. Every single game we were playing well. And now it's like 1 game great, 1 game crap. 1 game great, 1 game crap. It's hard to follow and it's hard to comprehend as well. It could be, of course, due to a lot of games. And if that's the case, then the manager needs to rotate more. And what I mean by more is 3 players and keep it balanced. The issue was in the Osasuna game, the team was burned out. He rotated half the team and they end up crumbling. But you have to do key rotations in key areas consistently. And the real thing, the annoying part about Flick is that he's rotating basically the same players. And it's now looking like it is costing us. Also, I want to look at this stat as well. This is for me one of the most mind-blowing ones, that we have missed the most big chances in La Liga this season with 44. We've scored the most goals in Europe's top 5 leagues. We have the most, clinical front 3, but yet we've missed 44 big chances in La Liga. This is the kind of sort of defense we had for Xavi last season. Team creates chances but can't finish, then we leak goals at the back. It's the same thing this season, and a stat to back that up as well is this one right here. How many points we had in the league after the first 18 games. Forget the first one, 47 points when we won the double, that's irrelevant. Last season, 38 points. This season, 38 points. What's the difference? The difference is the style and approach to games, but in the end, the results are the same in the league anyways. I still firmly believe that Barcelona on our day is the best team in the world. I think we have a Champions League final tomorrow. I think we beat it. I think we beat any team and we win it. But if you told me we played Leganes, Las Palmas, Eibar, Osasuna in a row in 4 games, I have 0 confidence. And we're seeing that now, and we're seeing that these players fail the ineptability of being consistent, whether it's the team as a whole or individuals as well. And that's why having a good squad is important, which I believe we do have, but this now relies on the manager failure to have rotation in competition. We know that if Kounde drops a stinker, he's starting next week. We know that Valde drops a stinker, he's starting next week. Casado, Pedri, Olmo, same thing. Flick is not giving opportunities to squad players. In regards to Xavi last season, he gave rotations, everyone was just shite last season. And again, we're talking about child charge here and this and that, where we're at the same point. There's been no improvement from last season, in one of the worst seasons I've witnessed and experienced as a Barca fan. We've had some highs, of course, last season and some lows. Same thing here. Maybe our highs just came really early against Bayern and Madrid. Since then, nothing, and I mean nothing, has happened whatsoever. Now, I want to get into some of the quotes of the players after the game. We have here, firstly, some quotes from Balde, who of course played his 100th game for Barcelona, saying that I think we didn't play badly. I think we played a good game, but we just couldn't finish the chances well. The game was shy. We conceded so early. He says that we have to finish the game off early, but these things are normal and happens in games. That for me is not an excuse. If we conceded in the hour mark, sure, maybe it would have been difficult. We conceded in the 3rd minute of the game, and we had another whole 90 minutes to come back, and we couldn't. Saying we played well is embarrassing and pathetic from a player that's now played 100 games for the club. We were absolutely abysmal, especially in that second half. I think he's just trying to reflect on the positive and hope that nothing comes out of it. But we'll talk about Balde later on. But that's what he said after the game. We also have some quotes here from Eric Garcia saying that we knew it was a game where we should have taken the 3 points. When you get conceded on against teams like this, you know they're going to sit back and defend. I think the first half, though, we had 3 clear-cut chances and we had 2 very good ones. In the end, there's also a bit of frustration because you see the time pass it and it becomes more complicated. But I think that we are getting back up. He was then asked, is this loss part of learning? He said, yes, in the end, we know that this season there are moments of fluctuation, more positives and than negatives. I think we have to take advantage of that and learn from it. We are a young team and we are in a club where you have to win every game. I understand his point here. I'm starting, the narrative of this being a young team is starting to piss me the hell off. It is the same team that we had when we won the double with Xavi. It is the same team. What has changed? All the signs we made last summer are gone. No Gundogan, no Romeo, Joao's are gone. Only Inigo is here. Up from the squad at the beginning of the season where we won the double until today, only Inigo and Olmo are our new additions. Everyone else is the same. Everyone else is the same. This team now has had 3 full seasons at Barcelona. They should know the fluctuations, the positive, the negatives, how to adapt to games, how to understand things, and yet they aren't learning. I think this comes down to more than adaptability than it does being a young team. Then asked what bothered you the most was not finishing the first half with a goal. He said, I think psychological aspect of these games is very important. And what I say during the live stream, you have to get that 1-1 before halftime to give you some sort of boost in confidence. If you go into the second half knowing 1,000,000,000% you have to score 2 goals, it does make it difficult mentally. When you don't get frustrated, you see the other team dropping a lot. They started wasting time, and eventually you get into vicious circles. As I said, I think we had 2 or 3 very clear chances. Again, those chances in the first half are going to be the talking point, the burning, decision making, but at the end of the day, we are at fault for our own doing. And I think this team is more than experienced enough to come back in a game like this. They've suffered so many type of games like this year already, and yet again, they fail to comprehend. Now, another player who spoke after the game was Pedri, and I have to say that these quotes from Pedri are fantastic. He came out speaking the truth, showing frustration, and showing why he is the 5th captain of the team in a very, very well thought out and very honest post-match reflection from him. He came out saying, a big disappointment. I think we started the match without any concentration. We were not focused and we struggled to reach the goal. We have to improve in La Liga. We're in a negative streak in La Liga and we are playing better in the Champions League. We may have declined due to the number of consistent matches, but this is not an excuse. You have to play as we do in the Champions League in La Liga. I'm very angry. It's true that we create a lot of chances today, but you do not convert them into goals. You do not win the game. When you face a defensive team and they score early, they'll sit back and defend for the rest of the game, and we have to be more effective. It's one of the toughest defeats of the season, and in La Liga, if you lower your intensity just a bit, any team will beat you. So I like these quotes here from Pedri. He shows just a complete honesty. Toughest defeat of the season, probably. I think this is probably the worst defeat of the season without a shadow of a doubt. Of course, our Champions League form and play is different from the league, which again is quite evident, especially in the past since the beginning of November until now. Not converting chances, of course, and playing against teams like this. To be honest, the guys are already going to sit back at this point, but the fact they got that goal so early gave them more of an incentive. But I still don't see that as an excuse because they scored so early. They scored so early on. It gave Barcelona so much time to get back in this game, but at least Pedri understands that and is reflecting on that. We also, of course, got some quotes coming in from the manager, Marko Dmitrovic. No talk from Flick, which I think is a bit embarrassing, especially after a defeat like this. Like I mentioned, our biggest defeat of the season. I don't know if he's banned from post-match press conferences. I've seen other managers who have red cards who come and speak after the game. I don't know. I don't think he was in the stadium because he also said that firstly yesterday in the pre-match press conference, and secondly, the camera of La Liga never panned to the stands to show Flick, so I don't even think he was in the Montjuic last night. But Marcus Sorg said a few quotes after the game that I think are important. He firstly came out saying that the team tried everything, but it didn't work out. We have to learn, and the players have to know that they have to go and give 100% every 3 or 4 days, and we have to accept that. We tried everything, I think, is BS. I think there's so many other avenues that we could have tried that we did not intend in this game. For example, bringing the likes of a player like Pablo Torre, who can open up games, especially in the 10. But you opt for a player like Fermin Lopez, who over the past year and a half struggles against a low block, and he only plays well against teams that are open and go toe-to-toe with Barcelona. If you look at Fermin Lopez's all top moments for Barcelona since joining the squad last season when he scored in the Clásico preseason, all his big moments came when the game was open. The reality is that he struggles against low blocks and finding space because he's a very high-risk player. He'll just shoot, he'll whip it across without seeing or looking at anyone. It's a good player to have in the squad. I still think Fermin is a big talent, but in a game like this, there is no reason to bring him on. Making that halftime substitution as well. We've seen Flick being very I don't know if Flick just gives Sorg all the control. I really want some clarity on this. Hopefully someone asks Flick this in the pre-match press conference ahead of the Atlético Madrid game, because I really want to know what's going on here, because I see other managers who are, involved when they're on the red cards, and why is Flick not? He's just using this as an excuse. I don't know. The rules of being a red card are very lenient, but there's so many other ways in which Barcelona could have had a more effective game this game, which in the end didn't result in it. Losing the good work from the start of the league, yes, that's happening to us in the process of building a team. There's going to be ups and downs. Everything is tight. I understand that. Of course, it's going to be ups and downs all the time in every season. Even the treble seasons that we've had in the past has been ups and downs. But when the downs are as consistent as the ups, that's what the issue comes in. Then he was asked on the second section, this for me was a fantastic question by the journalist, and I think Sorg gave a good answer here. So he's asked about the goal down low, the singing section, saying that of course the cheering section is missed, especially on days like today. The team needs support, and we are not happy with their absence. Now, before I continue with this, press conference of Sorg, I do want to discuss stuff about the singing section. Now, during the game, there was a fucking marching band in the second section trying to create an atmosphere, which does mean, of course, that the board of directors or someone at Barcelona paid this band to go and start playing instruments and stuff. For me, this is nothing short of the highest level of embarrassment. This is probably one of the most embarrassing, if not the most embarrassing moment of last night, that we have to pay people to create an atmosphere. Now, for me, the issue is not creating the atmosphere. The issue for me is not having one when you have the ability to have one. I understand Barcelona are going to be a big tourist attraction. That's not my issue. My issue is that the stadium needs something to get them up. When you rely on the stadium itself, they will fail. When you have a singing section, they get the fans up, they keep everyone pushing. At least the players can hear 1,000 people singing. It will help them and it will motivate them. The board and the singing section need to come to an agreement now. There's been 3 games where we've had no singing section. We've won 1 and lost 2. We lost against Las Palmas, we lost this game, and we beat Brest 3-0. If we're going to the Atlético Madrid game this weekend with no singing section, we are asking to be finished. I think both parties have done errors. I think both parties have been wrong in the approach to this. But at the end of the day, the club needs a singing section as much as the singing section need Barcelona. They have got to come to an agreement, and hopefully with Marcus Sorg mentioning this, we see a reaction, maybe from the singing section or from the board, to initiate a meeting and come to an agreement. Like I mentioned to you guys a few weeks ago, it would be sick to see a player come and pay the 21K fine that the singing section owed the club, even though they have absolutely no right and no need to do that, but just to break the barrier and to bring the club more united. But I don't think that will happen at this point. I think if it was going to happen, it would have already happened. But something needs to happen with this, because if we don't have a singing section, we are cooked. This is not like Ipswich where they die for every game. Of course, the fans will support. We have a full. We always have a great turnout. 40,000 came out for this game, in I think a 44,000 capacity Montjuic. 40,000, which is a fantastic turnout. We have turnouts better than most teams in the world. The issue is a lot of the fans are old school, or they're tourists where they come and they see the game. They only get cheered up if something around them happens or something on the pitch happens, and we missed that a lot in this game. I think this is one of the key factors into why we did not pick up 3 points, and this needs to be resolved as soon as possible, especially going to January. We have a lot of big home games coming up. Again, a lot of our home games are going to be in the second stretch of the season, and of course Atletico this weekend as well. Something needs to happen. I don't want to see a fucking 8-man, 10-man marching band trying to create something. That is really just high level of embarrassment in my opinion. Now back to what Source said after the game. After the match, emotions are running high. The most important thing is to ensure that we don't lose faith in our team. We must believe in the players, and I'm sure we will improve our performances. I'm sure we will too. We tend to bounce back a lot, but the issue is, how come we need to lose a game to win a game? That, for me, is what the issue are. We were looking for a sub for Lamine Yamal, Olmo, and Lua. We want fresh legs to bring on different dynamics to the pitch. That was the idea. I mean, you're in a game where you're trailing for the majority of the game, and you're looking for substitutions more so for fresh legs than the change. He says he had changed dynamic, different dynamic. That is BS. It was like for like changes, and the substitutions were poor. Why is Kubarsi coming on in the 70th minute as center back for a center back? That is not going to make a difference when Eric Garcia was playing fine. If he brought on Pau Victor at that point instead of at the 85th minute just chucking him on last 10 minutes, maybe things would have been different. The Kubarsi and Fermin subs were disgusting. They were so poor. They both had absolutely zero effect on the performance and on the impact. And if those substitutions were different, maybe something would have come out of it. The last few weeks have been very intense, but the training sessions have been very good before the game. So again, talking about the schedule there, I think that we have learned that in every match it's different. The match against Atleti will be different, no doubt. We'll do everything we can to make sure we win and get 3 points in the game. So that's pretty much what he said after the game. Now, of course, there's been a big question mark around Lamine Yamal. He's pretty much cooked. He apparently has sprained the same ankle that he injured, of course, during before the last international break. He'll have tests later on today. We'll wait for further confirmation. If he has any sort of injury, he's not playing against Atlético Madrid. So now the Atlético Madrid game is not only already difficult, no singing section, no Lamine Yamal. It can't get much worse than this. For me, the priority for Lamine Yamal now is to be on that plane to Saudi. We, of course, have 2-week break. We play Barcelona in the cup. Lamine Yamal is not going to play that game anyway. I don't think we have a league game. I don't know if we actually got to check right now. I don't think there's going to be a league game before the before going to Saudi. I could be wrong though. There isn't. So we just have Barcelona, and then we're off to Saudi. And we're basically going to be flying to Saudi in 3 weeks' time. I think Lamine Yamal will be out for 3 weeks, so he could maybe miss that first game against Athletic Club, but could maybe make the final if we, of course, we do make the final as well. As long as he's on that plane to Saudi and gets a medical green light for me, that is the most important thing. But I think he will be out for Atletico, which of course just makes the game for Barcelona even more challenging than it already is. Now, I do want to discuss two performances in this game that I think not only had a big impact in Barcelona not winning, but are now becoming a big concern going forward for the team. Firstly, it's Alejandro Balde's performance. I'm at a point now where we've got to sign a left back. Like I mentioned in the match review yesterday, from the double winning season until now, Balde has made no improvement. He is the exact same player in 2.5 years. Of course, he was injured for most of last season. He has made no great improvement. He has the ability to be a generational talent and generational left back for Barcelona. No doubt about it. But he's inconsistent as shit. He played alright in that first 20 minutes, put some good balls in. After that, he was nonsense. His touch, by the way, is costing him a lot. He has a good touch when he has no pressure, but when he's in tight spaces and he's being pressed by the opponent, his touch is a Timberland. It is absolutely bouncy, and he has no control of the ball. And this is becoming now more and more evident. A lot of people are going in on Jules Kounde, which I think is a completely like a farce. Yes, Kounde is not a fullback. Yes, we can have a new fullback there, sure, to have some competition. But I think Kounde played alright in this game. I think he defended very well. I think he went forward. I think his crossing is improving as well. Barcelona's big hole right now in this team are left wing and fullback. Left wing in terms of depth and to have that star power, but fullbacks is becoming a big issue. And who was saying in the summer that we should have Joao Cancelo? I was. But now y'all are stuck with Gerard Martin, so have fun with that one. Everyone coming at me, oh, Cancelo cannot defend, blah, blah, blah. Enjoy Gerard Martin. There you go. They come at me saying that, oh, I know nothing. When 20 million euros would have had you a world-class fullback, at least going forward. Yes, defensively, he's sus. But at least in a game like this, you can chuck on Cancelo for Kounde when he's twice and 3 times the player Kounde is going forward. Could have had a better impact. Scores goals, puts in good crosses. Yes, defending, suspect, sure. But I wouldn't use Cancelo in a game where we're playing against Madrid, Bayern, Atletico, in a very even game where you expect the fullback to go end-to-end. In a game like this, Leganes, Las Palmas, Cancelo would cook either at right back or left back. That for me was a key issue for Barcelona last summer. But a lot of you guys were on that fence, so enjoy it. You guys would have Gerard Martin. But Balde for me, I mean, are we going to go sign Alphonso Davies? No. Are we going to sign some world-beater left back? No. I think Balde has it very easy at Barcelona. Unfortunately, I don't think he's ever going to get any good competition because he needs it. We've been crying about this. The reason why we saw the best of Balde in the double season is because he had Jordi Alba on the bench. He knows that one sticky performance, Alba will come right back into the team. He's had no competition since then. We, of course, tried it with Cancelo. The issue is that he got injured for the rest of the season, so we didn't really get to see it. But Balde, for me, is becoming a real serious problem, and he needs to improve in his consistency factor. The issue is that we can say, oh, just put in Gerard Martin. Gerard Martin is worse. That's the issue. I'd rather have this kind of Balde than Gerard Martin. That is how poor Gerard Martin is for me as a Barcelona player. I guess you can say the same thing for Jules Kounde as well. I do like Hector Fort. I would love to see him get a chance at left back. But the issue is for me is I don't think Hansi Flick rates him. Of course, I would do it just to put pressure on Balde more so, and maybe give Hector Fort a runabout, because I think Hector Fort played very well. I still think he's a very good fullback, probably one of the best fullbacks we have produced over the past 15-20 years, alongside, of course, Balde. But there needs to be serious questions asked about Balde. Same goes for his teammate. Another one that for me is a big question mark, and that is, of course, Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo has been, since probably returning from the international break, has not been on it. Even the game against Brest where he scored, didn't really play well for the whole 90 minutes. I think in the Espanyol game, he was alright, especially in that first half where he did score. I think he had a really good game. He has not played well probably since that Espanyol game. Serious questions need to be asked about him as well. I think there's good competition in this team to push Dani Olmo, whether you want to, Fermin Lopez in more open games. Of course, you have, Gavi, who does it really well there. He played well in the cameo against Celta Vigo. You have Pablo Torre, who comes out to the games in that 10 and plays well. There's so much competition and so much at the ability of Barcelona in the 10. Of course, you can put Raphinha there, maybe put Ferran out left, or Ansu when he comes back from injury. But we don't see that change. We don't see. I know Flick that was ride or die for Dani Olmo in the summer. We know that peak Dani Olmo in this team absolutely cooks, but what has now been, 8 or 9 games, or not even 8 or 9 games, I mean like 5 to 6 games, where he's just not playing well. Questions need to be asked. Even the game against Dortmund, where I'm giving him a pass, where he got the assist for Raphinha goal. Before the assist for Raphinha in that first half, he was woeful. Woeful. His touch is so bouncy. His movement is poor. His runs, his passing in the final third is just abysmal. There needs to be repercussions. At least with Balde, you can make the argument, okay, it's Balde or Gerard Martin. Okay, we can let that one slide. With Olmo, you have 4 good options just to wake him up, put some pressure on him, saying, "Look, man, yeah, you had a great Euros. We paid 60 million for you, but if you don't perform, you're gonna see yourself on the bench." How can we do this with other players like Frankie De Jong gets all the slack, but all these other players don't do the same thing? I think Dani Olmo right now, performances and impact on the team right now is of the level of what we see in Frankie De Jong over the past few weeks. Nothing for Olmo. Why? Because he is Spanish. This team being 95% Spanish, this is the cons toward that. Of course, our team is fantastic. We have some of the best Spanish players in the world that won the Euros, won the Olympics, even won the under 17 Euros and Olympics as well. But when it comes to criticism, when it comes to losses, you hear nothing from them because the media likes them. That's why players in the past, like Felipe Coutinho, Raphinha last season, Malcolm, Frankie De Jong, Rakitic, Artur, they get the blame. Some of them deserved. Of course, most of the time, like when I talk about Rakitic, stuff like that, deserved. This is where they dodge it. No one's going to talk about Dani Olmo in the media because he's Spanish. They won them the Euros. He cost 60 million. Frankie De Jong puts a performance like Dani Olmo today. Oh my God. He might not make it home alive. Might not make it home alive. Keep it consistent with the constructive criticism. Dani Olmo needs a massive wake-up call. Dare I say he's affecting our play in the final third. I raved and glazed Dani Olmo the first 2 months. You know why? Because he did everything right. And now, he's doing everything wrong. Those for me, in this game, were the 2 big holes. Dani Olmo in the 10, and I had Alejandro Balde at left back, apart from everyone else not played too well. I think the fluidity in that, final third all comes in from the 10 in this kind of style, in the system, and that's why Lamine Yamal and Raphinha didn't really look that sharp. Of course, Lewandowski missed a bunch of changes, and he's just a striker, so whatever system you play him, as long as you feed him, it'll work in his favor. But serious question needs to be asked about Dani Olmo, in my opinion. Now, I do want to end off by just taking a look at the league table. Despite the fact that we've been absolutely woeful, we're still somehow on paper in first place. I think when it comes to this Atlético Madrid game, I think if we don't win, I think we're cooked. I've been very consistent, saying that as long as we are in first place, I think we will go on to win the league. We have not dropped off from first place. Yeah, I think we did for a little bit yesterday when Madrid were beating Rayo Vallecano 3-2, so we dropped to second place. But again, when the game ended, we're still on top. Somehow, some way, we're losing games, we're drawing, we've won 1 game in our last 6, and we're still first place. That shows you 2 things. 1, how shite we've been. 2, how massive our lead was at the top of La Liga that we've blown away. Of course, Madrid and Atlético Madrid do have a game in hand on us, so they do win those games. They go ahead of us. If buts maybes, I don't do. Madrid have to go to the Mestalla, which would be a huge game, a difficult game for them. I don't know what Atlético Madrid's game in hand is, but again, if we beat them, their game in hand becomes irrelevant. This league is still in the hands of Barcelona, and it's only our way. The only way we lose is if we throw it away. If we win every game from now to the end of the season, we win the league. It is that plain and simple. If we don't beat Atletico, though, I think we're cooked. I think this team, once we go off the rail, it's hard to get back on. The fact that we're still on the rail is a positive sign, in my opinion. But once we jump off it, that's a serious question. You could, of course, say, Barca boy, if we just win the Champions League this season, we would call it a success. Absolutely. But I do not trust this team. I think this team's mentality is still all over the place. I thought it changed after winning Bayern and Madrid back-to-back. Again, they still win. They've won a lot of big games this season. They probably won all the big games this season. The issue is in those tough middle La Liga, lower La Liga table games. Your Betis, Osasuna, Sociedad, Celta, Las Palmas, and now Leganes. These are the games where we struggle in. Against top teams, Champions League, and in La Liga as well. Yeah, we beat Athletic Club in the first game of the first few games of the season. We beat Madrid, Bayern, all the big Champions League games. That for me is the issue. That once this team goes off the rail, it's so hard to get them back on it. So if we beat Atletico, I think we'll still be alright in La Liga. I think in the end we'll go on to really challenge for it and hopefully win it. But I think as soon as we go into second, like officially with games played and all this stuff, that's for me is where I will be very worried about this team and its reaction. So for me, it's all about now momentum and confidence going forward. We need to instill that in ourselves, or else this season could be falling in front of our eyes. So that was a match analysis from the match yesterday between Barcelona and Leganes. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course in the comments down below as well. Let me know your thoughts on everything we did discuss. But my main question to you is about La Liga. Are you worried? Do you agree with me saying as long as we're in first place, we should be alright? Are you worried about what will happen this season? Are you worried about the team's mentality, the team's, lack of inconsistency? Or do you still feel like we have turned the page and that things will hopefully be more up than here than it will be down in the new year? And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care, and Forza Barca.